The film begins in a distant time in the desert of China, and we see Mongolian warriors chasing William and his men, and the two groups hitting each other with arrows, and William is able to kill one of them, and this makes them stall. When William feels that he and his men have lost sight of them for a while, he orders his men to cut the rope of the horses that were with them and walk in a different direction. Because of the warriors, Mongolia is scattered and the idea succeeds, and William and his men knew how to hide successfully, and at night they rest in a cave, and we know that they are. They were looking for black powder, oh Lord, and they lost 20 soldiers in their mission to obtain this powder, and yet they still did not obtain it, and most of them were thinking of retreating from this mission because they had no food or medicine left with them, and they began to complain that this black powder existed at all. But William tells them that no one will move from here, and our mission will continue to the next. And suddenly there is a strange monster that appears and kills all the warriors. And there is nothing but William and Tuvar. And the monster was coming again. But William had to attack him and cut off his arm. And they did not know what kind of creature it was that cut off his arm. But he repeated it and fled because this place was not safe. William repeatedly took the armor with him. And the next morning he came out of the cave and they moved. But Mongolian warriors met them and were forced to run away from them again. In the end, Bello themselves arrived from the bridges of the Great Tooth, and the soldiers on the wall descended on them with a cascade of arrows, and William realized that there was no escape and they must surrender. Until the two dragons convinced Tovar that they surrender themselves to the Chinese instead of the Mongolian warriors, and in the scene that follows, we see China's leaders shocked when they see the hand of the monster that was with William. And Commander Lin asks William and Tovar, "Where did you find the hand?" William told her that I killed the monster in the cave with one sword strike after she killed 3 of our companions. And the Chinese leadership was mocking him, and they did not believe his words, and she would not have wanted to kill them. But the war expert named Wang believed. It is possible that Wallen's words will turn out to be true because William's sword has green blood on it, which is the blood of the beast. I suggest that their relatives live until we know the truth about this hand. And what are the leaders thinking about doing with them? But suddenly one of the soldiers fears for them and says that the observation towers saw a large number of enemies approaching the wall. The army commander, General Shaw, orders his army to prepare for battle. As for William and Tuvar, they take them to the pictures and see many Chinese soldiers of different colors. Walid is amazed by the strength and order of the Chinese army and that they move together in a very sharp way despite their large number. And each group is wearing a certain color and has roles and missions other than the other. And the most distinctive group among them is the blue group, and countries are made up of women only. And they are led by the leader Lin, and he stands on the edge of the wall. They hold a giant spear, and they are preparing for battle, and all the soldiers are standing and ready to face the enemy. And they see from afar a large crowd of green monsters. They are moving in the direction of the pictures, and the arrow warriors are shooting a large number of arrows at them. And at the same time, they are shooting arrows, and they are able to release a large number of green monsters. And at the same time, they are shooting a large number of arrows at them, to the point that the sky was covered with the size of the arrows, and the arrows are able to kill some of the monsters. And the attack was continuous, and they are able to kill some of the monsters. And the attack was continuous, and he does not stop. But the monsters are not retreating. He is screaming loudly while they are dead. The ones in blue attack the monsters and beat them with spears. And the men pull them up at the same time. And they make a great effort in this battle. But despite that, the monsters were able to eat a lot of women, and from a distance. The queen of the monsters arrives, and with her monsters of another kind are guarding her. Wang saw her and reached the general. The general ordered the artillery to fire fireballs at the queen. The monsters that are guarding her are attacking the queen with sound waves. And she communicates with the monsters,
and they attack the soldiers and throw them over the wall, and they show that this monster is very strong. William and Tovar are trying to break free quickly in order to run, and there is a person named Blard who frees them, and there is a soldier named Bank who sees them. Although he is afraid, he runs towards the beast to kill them, but the beast repels him and throws him away from the beast. He was about to eat it, but William jumped in the air.
And the beast attacked with a spear in his bug. And the beast was piercing William, and he was not affected. But William took my spear again from Tovar and stabbed him, and the dragons united and killed the beast completely. And Tovar was caught walking red and lying to the attention of this beast. He let the beast run and fall into the trap that William made and killed him with the arrow in his eye. William did not stop here and killed the third beast, and the queen of the beasts. She sees a large number of her followers dying. So she uses waves. And you order them to retreat now with the monsters. You sell the orders, and they pull the bodies of their colleagues who were sold with them so that they would not allow the humans to know anything about them. And after this victory, the leaders go to William and Tovar, throwing their weapons in front of them as if they wanted to cooperate with them. And General Shaw tells them, "You were brave and strong in this battle?" He decides not to imprison them and provides them with a house to stay in, and the soldier goes to William and thanks him for shortening his life with a greeting in his hand. And after a while, William and Tovar babble. The person who freed them introduces them to himself and asks them, "What are you that brought you here?" They told him that we were looking for black powder, and he responded by telling them that I came to this desert 25 years ago because I was also looking for black powder. But at that time, the Chinese were ecclesiastical and arrested me and left me here so that I could remain an English language teacher. He told them that we will continue our conversation tomorrow, and he left them and walked away. And the next day in the morning, they fear for the leaders. And they all have their roofs on the courage they showed in battle. And there is a commander who says to William, "Are you a serious dowry?" when it comes to shooting arrows, but she uses very poor tools. William tells him that my tools are much better than yours. They all laugh at him and ask to see him shooting arrows. William agrees and does not mind, and makes Tovar throw this plate into the air. William, with great skill, hits 3 arrows. He stops the plate on 2 arrows, and everyone is amazed by him and applauds him. Then they sit down and eat, and William sits with Lynn and tells her his story, and tells her that I have been living in a life of battles since I was young, and I started my life cleaning the battlefield of bodies. With time gone by, a fighting soldier, and I fought in the ranks of many armies for money and food, to the point that I don't remember that I am exactly the locomotive of Cambalad. And Ellen is very surprised and takes him to the edge of the pictures and asks him if he wants to try jumping off the pictures like the women. She was bouncing, and William agreed and stood on the edge. Ben is afraid. Ellen tells him that you must remain confident and have faith that you will succeed. We are here not fighting for money or food. We are fighting for our country, and they trust each other. William is affected by her words, but he refuses, note, and tells her that I have lived all these years because I do not trust anyone. And Ellen tells him that a person must learn, trust people so that people can trust him. William tells her that we are not like each other. Then we see the soldiers preparing new codes so that they can fight the monsters and at night. In response, he purifies William and the black powder that turns air into fire in seconds. The Chinese army still has a large quantity. I suggest that when the monsters return again, we go and steal the black powder because the soldiers will be distracted in battle, and we take advantage of the opportunity and escape from here. Before he finishes, William, he said, I was carrying it with me to make an onion out of it, and I believe that the magnet is what helped me kill the monster easily the first time, because I mentioned that the monster's weakness is the magnet. Where are the monsters now? Wong, he said, they are in the mountains, and they are preparing. And he begins to tell them that the monsters are countries called Taothe, and they are from space, and they descended on the earth from 20 loans. And from then on, the monsters come out every 60 years to attack northern China, and they try to eat everything that exists, because in this way, their queen feeds, and thus the queen overtakes more monsters. And the capital of China has about 2,000 people, and it is far from the pictures, 300 miles. And if a crowd enters the capital, the agency of the Beni admin, their number will be very large and spread throughout the world. At the same time, General Shaw knows that there are soldiers who have disappeared from the observation towers and find their bodies on the ground. So he and Commander Lin want to investigate the matter and suspect that there are still monsters in it. He leaves the soldiers ready for anything, and the soldiers are surprised when they see the bodies of their colleagues lying as they are, and the monsters have not eaten them. And the soldiers move forward with rest. After they saw a monster standing in front of them, they saw another monster coming behind him on the sword, and he was trying to ambush the soldiers. They do not attack at the same time, and Shaw tried to stop the monster towards him, but failed. So he moves away from us and ends up with fatal injuries from the monster and the monster. He died, but it was too late, and the general died. Shaw, in his last breath, announces that Lin will remain his successor and commander of the army. After him, he warns her that she does not underestimate the intelligence of the monsters, and a large funeral is organized for Shaw's soul, and people cry for him and light many candles and fly them in the air. After a while, it arrives. The name was pulled from the Emperor of China, and with it records of the battle that took place between humans and monsters 60 years ago, and he says that the monsters came to her almost paralyzed when she expelled the soldiers on the mountain because there was a semi-magnetic magnet with William, and William was talking, and he says, I suggest that we catch a monster and try the magnet on it and see how it will limit the monster, and we can catch it with a big hook. And Hadavar talks to William on Al-Faraj, and he says, I did not agree with this idea. Don't forget that we put it. Escape with Black Badra, Bisipe, and Pimshi. While Wong was bringing a large amount of narcotic substances and putting them on the hooks so that they could catch the monster while it was alive and drugged, and after a while, the Tatey monsters arrived in large numbers and tried to sneak in and climb the fence. But the soldiers knew of their presence and came down to fight them and attack the monsters with sharp blades from behind the fence in order to destroy the monsters. While the soldiers fight the monsters with all ferocity. And what do you command? Hooks. And they actually launch towards the monsters and let a large number of them go. But it becomes clear that these monsters are pure and they understand the human intentions and that they want to capture them. So they break the hooks and all of them are freed from them, except for one monster. And on the other hand, Balart says to Tofar, this is the right time for us to escape. But Tofar refuses because William was participating in the battle, and William at this time was thinking of abandoning the Chinese army, but he retracts his idea and decides to go and help the soldiers. They have the only monster who is caught, and the soldiers decide to receive fireballs around this monster and make a circle of fire around it in order to gain time for themselves and pull the monster. But the monster was breaking the hook chain, and William realizes that the chain will not bear much, and he repeatedly takes a risk. He wanders into the battlefield and finds the monster unconscious due to the drug. So he ties it to a rope to pull it. But there is such a monster that appears to kill him, but Tovar appears in the occasion, and they save and blame for what happened. And he tells him that in our time we escaped, and he does not respond to him because he is busy with the monsters. And the dragons cooperate together and kill the monsters with all skill and shoot arrows at them in their eyes. And the monsters come from the circle of fire and approach William and Tuvar. But the Chinese army brought black powder and threw them bombs made of black powder at them, and the monsters explode from these bombs, and they saved William and Tuvar's life. And then we see them catching the monster and putting it in a cage. Workers move to escape. Wong brings the magnet closer to him. To their surprise, when the magnet approached him, the monster was guided and stopped moving. They understood that the magnet had made an effect, and the messenger from the emperor launched a request to take the monster with him to the Emperor of China, Wong. He rejects this idea, but he cannot object because the decision comes from the emperor himself, and he does what he does. He takes the monster and walks away. And then William B. Apple Tovar says to him, you will not benefit anything from your help? They will not see you as a hero, and do not forget that you are just a thief and a liar. Do not try to remain a hero. William becomes fanatical and raises the knife and is not satisfied with hurting his owner and leaving him and then walking. The soldiers felt the movements of the monsters under the wall. So they came down from the pictures to investigate this matter. And for the soldiers, they discovered that the monsters had made a large tunnel in the pictures, and they did this in the 2 battles that they passed, and the soldiers were not worried at all, and so on. The monsters returned from the tunnel to reach the capital, while Ballard, Black Powder, and they plan an escape through images, taking advantage of the soldiers' preoccupation with monsters. Als William stops them and says to Tovar, we used to fight for money and food in the past, but now we have something to fight for, and we are supposed to fight for an important cause like this. And Tovar tells him there is no chance that we will defeat the monsters. Why are you optimistic? We can beat them and the dragons would rather argue? He signs a shawala on William, and they lose consciousness and convinces Tovar. Because this is the most appropriate opportunity to escape, and Lin then gets to know Herba to respond and save, and becomes fanatical against William because he is a traitor. William tells her, I tried to stop them, but they beat me and ran away. And Pangy intervenes and says, I actually saw them beating him when he tried to stop them. So she will not order her men to recite, and they fled in response and arrest them. And she orders William to be imprisoned in the cell, and we will see Tovar and Ballard in the desert, and they were lost and they did not know how to walk. Zai. So Tovar gets off the horse behind the top of the mountain to know the track. How? But Balrad came out as a traitor, and his horse sped up and ran away with black powder, and Tovar went crazy, and he did not know how to catch up with him. But at night, a group of roadblocks appear in a country and arrest a country while they steal the black powder from it. And then Lin repeatedly travels to the capital in giant forms to help the emperor and fight the monsters and put the black powder as gasoline for the forum. So this invention of the forum fails because it was not a means of travel, and there are soldiers. Many are dying, and there are only very few soldiers left going to the capital. While Bang frees William, who goes to meet Wang and asks him what happened. Fuang told him that we failed to prevent the monsters from penetrating the pictures, and Ellen ordered your release, and she will allow you to escape if you want. And she decided to go herself to the capital. And our only horse now is that we are killing the queen of the monsters, because if she dies, all the monsters will die. And William decides what he escapes and goes after Lin to the capital. At the same time, Lin had arrived and seen the monsters, already invading the capital, and she was trying to reach the emperor's palace. But the monsters attacked them and fell them from the balloon. And the soldiers were forced to fight with all their might. And Lin found herself grieving for the monsters. And before they were going to kill her, and Eliam, he arrived in time and saved her. He threw bombs at the monsters and their death as they saw the queen eating. And then they went to the palace, and Wang drew up a specific plan to eliminate the queen. And they fled from the tunnels underground. With the monster that he caught before, and this monster, we tie many bombs around me, and we will plant large quantities of flesh on it. And then we release it and call it to the queen so that we still have a chance to kill the queen with these bombs. Indeed, they begin to implement the plan and move in the tunnel. But their plan fails because the monsters knew where they were and caught such a soldier and killed him. And a bank became injured, but he was still alive. Suddenly, there are other monsters coming at them, and Bang repeats himself and sacrifices himself, and he does. And he blows himself up, he and the monsters. The tunnel quiets down. The road closes. And of course, they harass him. Then Wang opens the door and releases the monster. And the monster rises after he removes the magnet from him and does not get close to our heroes because they hold the magnet. And the monster begins to eat the meat that they put on him. And then he comes out to hand the rest of the meat to his queen, William and Lin. They move after that, and Wang continues to stand guarding the door. Using the magnet, William and Lin reach a high place. He sees the monsters with the queen, and William Butok is fond of the queen. But the guards, like the queen, block the plane. The queen feels what happened. William will try to attack from another place. But the queen commands the monsters to attack all the buildings. Wug throws the mixed fish to his colleague, a fool who does not eat the monsters. And William hits another arrow, but he also catches it in this way. The owner saw William and knew where he was, so she ordered all her followers to attack William, and Lin, and they were forced to jump, Annette using the rope, and they avoid the monsters that turn their grip, and then William throws the magnet at the guards, while the queen is afraid, and the queen is trying to stop the fire quickly. But it fails, and a large explosion occurs, and the Tati monsters die, and thousands of monsters are expected around the palace, and thus the humans are the ones who won. Then William returns to the Great Wall of China, discovers that he is exhausted, arrests him, and Tofar congratulates him on the victory, and they ask, "What did you get?" "After the war you fought, William." He told him, "While they were giving me all the quantities of black powder that I wanted, and without guarding me so that I could reach my country, but the emperor made me an offer. Either you will be liberated or I will take the black powder, and I decided to free you because friendship is the most important thing in existence." And Tovar will be surprised by William's decision. And then William and Tovar, they go out and go to their country. And when you look at William with a farewell look, and William looks at her and says, "I'm sure that one day I will return to this place." And here we have reached the end of the episode.
And if you made it this far, wow, you're a legend. If you enjoyed the ride, hit that like button and help us reach 40,000 likes. Your support means the world. Don't forget to subscribe for more mind-bending stories just like this one. And hey, drop a comment below, tell us your favorite scene, or just leave a feather emoji so we know you're part of the survivors. See you in the next one.
Don't forget to subscribe, comment your favorite scene, and we'll see you in the next one. Truz, only on Recapify.